just because so I can share some stuff and things. So
Live?
welcome to Saturday night. Like before anybody else gets to hear the intro, you do. You the person who's watching on the Facebook, and we appreciate you. We really do.
I was pointing at them.
But I need to share it with some other things eventually. There we are.
This is the Upstate Pulse on 106.3 WORD. Wake up and smell the future. The heartbeat of what's trending in the Upstate.
What do people mean to somebody that knows what's going on in the community?
The world.
That's going to be bigger than the internet.
And the known universe. You don't know the power of the dark side. It's the Upstate Pulse on 106.3 WORD. Brought to you by...
Welcome into the Upstate Pulse. My name is Lonzo. It is a beautiful Saturday night. Hey, it's kind of hot. I don't know if you noticed, it's kind of hot outside. It really is. But while you're enjoying your AC and you're in your car or, your truck or, maybe on your motorcycle or maybe you're walking. I don't know why you want to do that, but maybe you don't have a choice. Thank you for taking us along with you while you're on your way to wherever that is that you're going. We're going to have fun for the next 2 hours. You know why? Because all that stuff, if the world is on fire, which we were just talking about before the show started, if the world is on fire, still going to be on fire after the show, you might as well smile and have a good time for the next 2 hours. So what we do here is we do not talk politics because you get plenty of that during the week with our award-winning programming. Don't need to tell you who it is because, all right, I'm going to tell you because they like it when I say their names and I don't blame them. Starting out with Tara Servatius. By the way, Tara, very happy with the ending of Stranger Things. We had a discussion about last week on the show. We talked about if someone had to die and it not be Eddie, who would it be? And the first thing Tara said, and I'm going to say this, and you can get on her about it. Text line 71307 was Steve. I was like, wait a minute, Tara. No. And then she said, well, maybe Jonathan. I was like, okay, all right. But not Steve though, not Steve. And she hopes that Steve gets together with Nancy. All right, I'm gonna move on. Also, award-winning programming, Vince Coakley, my friend Vince Coakley, who I do miss dearly. And I thank everybody for sending me emails and messages wondering where I am and the fact that I'm not on that show. But, the other show that I am on, the Rob Brown show with Rob Brown, it was difficult for them when they came up with that name, but they did moved to 9 to 12. So I can't be on with Vince because of that, because I am an integral part of that program. Just wanted to use the word integral because, it's not something normally in my vocabulary because I'm from the street. And, even though some people like Chris Evans, who may be listening, have tried to change me and make me more refined, not going to happen. Not. Refine's a big word too. You don't use that back in the south side of Columbus. People are going to refine. Is that what happens when they make beer? Maybe, possibly. And we also have Charlie James in the afternoon. Check out all our award-winning programming during the week. But you know what? Enough about them. Let's talk about this show and who's on it. Other than myself, Owen Watterson, right over there. Hey, Owen.
How you doing, Lonzo?
I am awesome. And for the first time ever, no, I'm not going to get to him next. Let's go with show contributor Cameron.
Hi.
There we go.
I'm here.
And then Matthew Causey gets to be in the main room today.
I'm in the main room. I'm out of the box. I've been let out.
He is out of the box and excited for him, but I'm also disappointed for the listeners because T2 will not be on today. Feeling a little bit under the weather and we wish him a speedy recovery.
We have a tragic lack of bro.
It could be. We do. We have a man. Now I'm depressed.
A moment of silence for the lack of bro.
Yeah.
Lack of bro and a lack of, what did you just say? I didn't hear what you were saying.
I'm going to promise that I will try to make up for the lack of bro. Okay. Now I can say, at least today, my hair is the best hair on the show. So here's what we got coming up today. We had a couple people absent from the Nerf wall last week. We're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss that. And, the Arsenal is just right over there. It's right over there.
Oh.
You can't see it, but it's right over there. And that would be a shame if someone in this room were to face the Nerf wall today because they wouldn't get shot by enough people. That's all I'm saying. And you guys, well, we're going to talk about that in a second. San Diego Comicon is going on right now. A bunch of stuff has dropped like it usually does as far as trailers and things like that. Nothing earth-shattering so far. Nothing that you went, whoa, I didn't see that coming. At least not yet. But the big panels are happening today, and while this show is on, and mostly on Sunday. Sunday is usually the really big day for the biggest shows. I think Marvel is all tomorrow. DC happened today, so we're going to talk about some of that. And
A couple Marvel things.
yes, we have to talk about the departure of one of the richer people in the world, and someone who built an empire and is no longer in charge of that empire. We're going to get to that in hour number 2. We have a killer oops, nearly literally, and a ton of things in the roundtable, so much so that it may take a good portion of the second hour. Also, we're going to talk some video games. But first, let's get to the Nerf wall. Okay, so here's how this works. Whenever there are wrestling pay-per-views, we pick who we think is going to win, and the loser has to face the Nerf wall. Now, last week, it was supposed to be a 3-way tie between Owen and Matthew and Tim. And Tim was the only one here. So the other guys had good excuses for not being here, but still they weren't here. So they didn't get to participate in something that could have put one of them against the wall. Now, our friend Rob Brown from the Rob Brown Show, he came up with an idea of letting the text line crown a champion, and that champion would face Tim in the tiebreaker. So that's what we did. Now, Rob, for some reason, thought that you, the Upstate Pulse listeners, would vote me as the person to face the wall. And I told him, they've seen me face the wall a bunch of times. It was time for some new blood. It was absolutely some time. And Rob nearly lost. He did lose. He became the champion. So what they did is they rolled 2 D20, each rolled a D20. And Rob, the experienced Dungeons and Dragons player, rolled the lower number. No, he didn't. He rolled the higher number.
He rolled the higher. I mean, they were both very low
wait a
numbers.
second.
All right,
but
all right. Here's what I want to say is that the internet, the Upstate Pulse listeners were very disappointed because they really wanted Rob on that wall. They did.
So many kids were trying to pitch you against the wall again.
Well, it's okay. He'll get there. Someday he'll get there. He is down to be in the running every single week. And, I will, if he ever loses, I will put it off till I can get him back in there. And he's a very busy guy, so he can face the wall. Speaking of busy people, shout out to Rob Young from Borderlands Comics and Games in South Carolina Comicon, who was here last week and for the first time in a long time, and brought his Gatling gun. And Tim, the floor over there was littered. I mean, there was hardly any white. There were so many Nerf bullets over there.
There was a lot.
It was good. I've never seen that many before in the 7.5 years of the show. I think it's 7.5. It could be more than that, but 7.5. We're going to go with 7.5 today. I've never seen that many bullets before. And it was glorious. And then they all had to pick them up. Speaking,
By they, you mean me.
yeah, well, thank you. So here's what we're going to do. You guys are not getting shot today. I mean, it just should have been obvious because there's no guns in the room. And yes, I do have them in the office.
That's what I
You
figured.
guys have seen them. Some of you, I think Matthew and people, was it last week? Somebody was going in there and you guys were going in there and getting all my.
I wasn't here last week.
Okay, so somebody was going in there and getting all my stuff last
Didn't
week.
you make Tim load all of them too?
No, I was going to.
Oh, okay.
So what I did is I brought Tim a bullet every single day as he produced Charlie James.
In Upstate
and just-
Pulse, you load your own Nerf gun.
Yeah, just handed it to
be
him.
shot.
And that Friday, which was last Friday, I was going to have him load all the guns just because I think it's funny. And I didn't do it because
And the fact that you kept putting a Nerf bullet by him.
Oh, no. I handed it to him. I walked in and handed it to him. That's more fun.
You just got to look him in the eyes as you hand it
Yeah,
to
it's
him.
not like the horse head in the bed. This is here. Hold this.
It's a lot more personal.
Familiarize yourself with this. You're going to be seeing a lot of it. And I owed him because he shot me in the forehead and it hurt. Anyway,
Tim was out for blood when he was shooting you. I will say that.
yeah, of course he was. It was a good job. And no one had ever gotten past a mask, but it's just proof that my hairline's receding enough to where, it was visible. But that's okay. So here's what we're going to do. Next week, and Tim doesn't know this, next week we are picking SummerSlam because it happens next week starting at 8:00. So Tim will be exempt. So I'm not putting it on you guys. Everyone has equal chance. Well, the four of us have an equal chance of losing. Rob will not be picking because he's going out of town, so not going to do that. But so out of the four,
We
of us,
could find him.
but Tim, well, if you want to go to the Dominican, you could find him.
I can make it a quest.
Well, you could do that. So Tim,
Who's in for a quest to go
Adventure.
find Rob and shoot him with Nerf guns in the Dominican?
so some
Republic?
people may say I should make you guys pick, but I'm not going to do that. So Cameron and I are in it too, but Tim doesn't have to pick next week. So that's how I'm going to take care of it. I think it's only fair. But speaking of Nerf, there is a new Nerf gun, and I posted it on the Facebook page 106.3D. If I posted it there, some people might get angry about it. I posted on the Upstate Pulse Facebook page. And no, I don't just do things to make people angry.
Contrary to popular belief.
Yeah, I do.
That moment of silence
Yeah.
is disbelief. And,
No, that was just me laughing. So there's a new Nerf gun. It's called the Nerf Pro Gel Fire Mythic Blaster. And here's what I want you to do, Owen and Matthew. Look up the Nerf Pro Gel Fire Mythic Blaster. This gun cost $80. And here's what the blaster comes with: 10,000 tiny dehydrated gel fire rounds. To prepare for your Nerf warrior, you first have to hydrate the rounds, which make them grow into soft, super absorbent polymer projectiles. Then you dump them in the hopper. It can hold 800 rounds, by the way.
And the hopper?
In the hopper, and fire them at will. They fire at a high speed and burst upon impact, leaving nothing to clean up. Allegedly, according to the company. The Nerf Pro Gel Fire Mythic Blaster has two modes: semi-automatic and fully automatic. Did you look at the gun?
Oh, I'm looking at it
Yeah.
right now.
That's a beauty, isn't it?
That is a beaut right there.
Yeah, just think if you were behind that particular gun and you're looking over there, and there's Cameron against the wall.
Might as well be paintball for Nerf.
Why would we put me against the wall?
Because it's not going to be me. So, because I'm not retiring or anything, but I'm going to really pay attention that week if I thought I was going to get shot with that.
With that attitude, you're probably going to lose.
Well, here's the thing though. I might actually order that gun, but I'm not sure we could shoot it in here. So we might have to go on location somewhere to use it. And if we went on location somewhere, just like with paint guns, then you have a shot to not get shot.
I just imagine Tara comes in Monday. It's like, why is there an outline of a person in paint?
Well, they say, and I just read it, they say that the thing will disappear.
No mess, yeah.
Yeah,
no
no
mess.
mess.
Yeah. So but I don't know how that works. I mean, it would have to leave a mark, wouldn't it?
It would have to
I think
bust
it'd be
open.
something.
Because
Also, is this supposed to be like the paintball equivalent of Nerf? Or
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. Like, they can't go much further. To
Yeah,
paintball
but
than this.
it's not.
is it going to be as impactful as paintball?
No,
Just
because
full
there's
of-
no CO2 involved.
Oh, that's true.
There's CO2 involved with paint guns.
Yeah.
And so
Gotcha. So that would provide all the
even though we know how hard the guns that we have, my Mandalorian gun and your Stormtrooper gun,
You're for intimidation guns.
yes, those guns shoot pretty well. But the other thing is, those bullets have to be strong enough to handle the propulsion shooting them out. So I don't know. I'm willing to shoot somebody with it though.
I'm just skeptical of the no mess. That's really where I'm at. That's it.
Same
I was
here.
saying, we could probably do it in the parking lot,
Well,
couldn't we?
we could.
Oh,
Yeah, a lot of things been done in that parking lot. So
Well, just don't miss and hit chicken salad chicken.
well, listen, what I'm talking about, it could be other stuff, but I'm talking about, we've got the Rise guys from 93.3, the Planet Rocks down the hall. We've also got Hawk and Tom from B93.7. So there are a lot of torture going on that I've witnessed myself in the parking lot. So this would not be unusual.
radio and torture, they go hand in hand.
And plus we have a backside of the building, so we can just do it back there. So if it makes any mess or anything, and there are cameras, so it isn't like we get away with, although I do know a guy that can make those cameras just kind of go blank.
We could do that,
I
or
feel like Lonzo knows a bunch of guys.
I know a bunch of
it's called
guys.
He's
networking.
got a guy.
It is. That's what happens when you've been here for a while. You learn how to network. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk some, you know what? We're going to do oops when we come back, just because I want to do this. You listen to the Upstate Pulse right here on 106.3 WORD, continuing live on the 106.3 and Upstate Pulse Facebook pages, as well as the Upstate Pulse and, well, no, the Upstate Pulse YouTube and Twitch page. By the way, I didn't have the page up that has all the comments. There's a ton of comments. We're going to get to those when we come back from break. I agree, Mark. Rob had heel level heat last week. And the thing is, he's so good. I don't know if that was on purpose or not. I don't know if he was genuinely worried or if he was over the top playing it. Because,
I think it was genuine. I think it was genuine.
That's the same kind of reaction he had when my wife outbid him for the Wonder Woman poster at Comicon.
Oh, that was so funny too, because the best part was I was going to outbid him and I was just going to give it to him. And then Mom just straight up goes and buys it out from under the both of us.
Yeah. Trey's asking if we're going to pick ROH tonight. I got to tell you, I don't know enough about ROH yet to do that, which is a perfect way to pick. But now we're going to wait till next week. Let's see. Someone should draw a portrait of Cameron wearing the Pirates hat and Rob with the Gatling gun. That was a cool visual. Well, I got to tell you, when we start playing our radio D&D, which is going to happen in a few weeks, you'll get to see Cameron in the pirate hat.
Indeed.
Oh, yeah. It's true.
Yes, Steven, they're gel bullets. That's what they say. And they're dehydrated, then you hydrate them, which means they got water in them, obviously. Although it doesn't say what you hydrate them with. I mean,
tears.
We could do tears.
Yeah.
Or we could do something that would stain, like grape juice or I guess wine or something like that. I don't know.
Did you say that wood stain or
that wood stain? Or we could do it with wood stain. We could do that. Although you don't want to get any of that in your eyes.
No, definitely not.
Although I kind of want to
Why do you look like a nice oaken deck?
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of want to get that and put something that would stain just so there would be an outline of a person on the back of the building. I know you wanted Rob on the wall, Steve.
I wanted Rob on the wall.
We all wanted Rob on that wall.
If I could have.
I could tell you who wanted it more than anyone. That would be Tim.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Tim got the worst nerfing of all time.
That really was pretty bad.
It was.
It was. And yeah, T2 wasn't feeling well today, Chris. So he asked, could he have it off? And I, the benevolent boss that I am, said, yes, my young Padawan, I hope you feel better. Nah, he asked for it off. And Tim steps up, and anytime anyone needs help, so when he asks off, I try to give it to him off. But he says he's not feeling well, so.
I was going to refute you and say that you guys are Sith, but you guys are Jedi.
I'm a gray Jedi, and I know they say gray Jedi don't exist, but you know what I say to those people? Prove me wrong. I guess you could prove me right, but that would be even better.
Well, the Grey Jedi are a thing now, aren't they? Because like Ahsoka was a Grey Jedi in Rebels.
I think she does technically qualify, even though that they don't like that, especially Freddie Prinze Jr. for some reason.
Yeah, they don't want you to say that they're Grey Jedi, but they're a Grey Jedi.
No.
Well, I think the main distinction that they're trying to make now in the new canon is there's a difference between what the Jedi were during the Republic era and during the Clone Wars as compared to what they should have been. And it's a matter of they got too political as compared to what the Jedi should have been and following the will of the Force.
Yeah.
It's like one of those...
I
shouldn't get into this. I should save that for...
if I miss my window in the theater, like in the first week, I usually won't go see something. I don't know why that is, but it's just a thing. If I miss my window, I rarely go see it in the second week.
Yeah.
I will say one movie I'm probably going to go see, which I don't know if anybody else is going to care, but Bullet Train.
I kind of want to see Bullet Train.
Yeah, it looks fun.
Yeah.
We had a texter asking about D&D movie, so.
All right, welcome back into the Upstate Pulse. Lonzo, Owen, Matthew, and Cameron here, having a blast on a Saturday night. If you want to be a part of the show, text line 71307 or check us out on Facebook or YouTube or Twitch. Send us some messages there, and we will try to get to them. But we just played the oops sounder. That means somebody done got in trouble with the law. And as usual, it either happens in Florida or Ohio. We've talked about it has to do with disclosure laws, so we know more about what happens in both those states. Rob Brown taught me that. I mean, he could have been making it up. I don't know. Do you know anything about disclosure laws, Matthew?
I don't know a lot about them, but I know that is a thing. That's why there's so many Florida man stories.
Yeah. Well, apparently
it sounds right.
Ohio, which, Cameron and I, it's our birthplace. has the same policy. So it's either or. Either something happened in Ohio or it happened in Florida. And this case is Florida, which is good, you know. A Florida woman is behind bars after she terrorized shoppers at a local grocery store. I'm not going to tell you what she used yet. All right. Lisa Sloan, 56, was highly intoxicated. They put that in quote marks. So that must mean she was really, really, really intoxicated when she showed up at a Publix grocery store in Mineola earlier this week, carrying a pitchfork, a whip, and several teddy bears. Okay, so
now were the teddy bears like a bandolier kind of thing, or
I don't know. So get a visual, everyone out there. So, lady shows up to the Publix in Florida. I don't know what she was wearing. It's Florida though, so she might have been wearing a bikini. I don't know. And she's got a pitchfork. What do you use a pitchfork in Florida? I guess they have barns and horses there. Maybe
I guess a little bit, maybe.
Do you have to pitchfork the gator stall? I don't know. Owen, do you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'd imagine pitchforks.
I don't know why Owen would know, but he looked like he would know. He would.
I mean, they're for wheat, so
yeah. Well,
no,
no,
they're for what?
No,
it's for wheat.
For wheat?
No,
Wheat.
pitchforks.
Wheatins.
Pitchforks are not for wheat. Pitchforks are for mucking out stalls.
Oh, okay. I thought it was for like wheat and hay. For
Well, yeah, you can do
They
that.
can
too.
be. Like
You
I
can do that, too.
said, you could use
That's what I've always
pitchforks.
seen.
I thought they were
Here's the
for lighting fires and chasing people.
Well, there's that too.
There is that.
Yeah, and especially in places like Transylvania or Iowa.
Hey, she was just doing her best one man angry mob.
She was.
That's not all she had on her, though, is it?
Wasn't. She was carrying a pitchfork, a whip, or a whip.
Whip.
Yes, a whip.
Not of the cream variety.
I do. No, I don't believe so. It might have been a cat of nine tails. I don't, but they're not specific. So it must be a regular whip because they're not pointing that out. Now I don't know if it was a horse whip or a lion tamer's whip. They're
Maybe
not.
a bull whip.
It could be a bull whip. I don't know. And several teddy bears. Again, we don't know what variety of the teddy bears were. Were
Were
they
the
all
teddy
same
bears
kind of
walking
teddy
with
bears? Maybe in her mind. She was intoxicated. At one point, Sloan, who was trying to sell the teddy bears to customers, stabbed someone's minivan with the pitchfork, the agency reports. So she's trying to sell the teddy bears to buy more booze, I'm guessing, because and there's how do you report that to your insurance company that your minivan got pitchforked?
I don't think they believe you.
I don't think so either. I mean, you come out, the guy comes out and takes pictures and no, I'm telling you, man, it's a pitchfork hole.
Excuse me, sir. Were you conducting experiments to revive a previously deceased person? Okay.
That's Frankenstein.
Yes, Frankenstein. Certainly not Frankenstein.
All right. So the minivan gets stabbed. After a scuffling with Sloan, troopers took her into custody, but her reign of terror continued. Once she was placed in the back of a patrol car, Sloan began kicking the window in an attempt to break out. When troopers asked why she was behaving like she was, Sloan reportedly told them she felt no pain anymore and that God was in control. According to a police report, she's been charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, charging documents reveal. Okay, so the thing is, we've heard about people with machetes. We've heard about, people with katanas. I don't recall anyone showing up with a pitchfork and a whip.
Not in that specific combination that I've ever heard of.
She's got a very unique build.
She really does.
The fact that the teddy bears are just like a side component here to this bothers me a little bit.
It's flavor for her backstory.
It is. It is.
Okay.
So I'm also curious, and this is just me because I wonder, is she right-handed or left-handed? And if so, which hand was the whip and which hand was the pitchfork? So I'm guessing if you're right-handed, you go with the whip in the right hand because you have a little more control. And the pitchfork, where it has reach, as long as you got a decent grip, you're probably going to do some damage with that.
Yeah. Well, because
I
the
would
other thing is
imagine.
you could just couch it in your arm. Couching is a certain type of maneuver that they used to do with jousting with lances and whatnot. But, just want to give context. Just couch the pitchfork and you could whip in front of you and just charge.
I'm not going to throw a nay joke in there because it's really dated. So I'm
It's
not gonna
incredibly
do that.
dated.
You're just going to
It's
imply
very
it.
dated,
But
yes.
so was Cameron's talk about jousting. So
Yeah, but
we'll just go with it.
But I would have to say that jousting probably fits better on this show than whipping
Fair,
and nay.
fair.
We got a texture right here backing what I was saying up. Pitchforks are used for pitching hay. I am correct. I'm always correct.
Right. But they're also used for mucking out
Little bit of
stalls.
God complex going on there, Matthew. Eh?
Yeah.
We got multiple people backing me up.
All right. So text line 71307. Tell us what the text line is saying, Matthew.
We got one comment coming in. Pitchforks are made for pitching hay. Manure forks are what's made for cleaning out stalls. They are wider and have wider, flatter teeth, apparently.
So flatter teeth or poop teeth?
Okay, I gotta say, it's all right. That's perfectly acceptable, I suppose.
That is probably the cleanest joke I've made.
I'm
done
from
worse.
the south side of Columbus. I lived in the shadows of downtown. You think I've ever used a pitchfork? Actually, I have used a pitchfork.
I've never
I
touched a
like how you
pitchfork
said
in my
the
life.
shadows of downtown.
It is the shadows of downtown, the shadows
Like-
that people don't want to go into.
Like you're like setting up a rap video or something.
I could, and maybe some have been done. You've been to that neighborhood, and it was clean when you were there.
Yeah, and those two people still were dead the next week.
They were dead the next week. And also, there's a out in front of my mom's house on the sign. It was it Crips or was it Bloods?
It was Bloods.
It was Bloods. Okay, yeah. When you see
What?
when you just forget. It was a rough neighborhood. So
Well, and it cued me to go, Raven, go inside.
yeah, you see, when I took them to where I grew up, the first thing I told my children is, don't go out of the yard. And it's not like they're little kids. It's just like, I mean, how old do you think you guys were?
I was I think like 14,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah. So she would have been like 10. But I said, don't go out of the yard. And they looked at me like, what you talking about, Dad? And then the yelling started, and they just decided to come in the house because of the yelling.
Oh, no, I pushed Raven.
Yeah, it was this. She probably had her mouth open, just completely shocked. But
I was
that's
like, go in, get in now.
That was that Florida lady trying to get into the minivan.
yeah. Well, maybe.
Honestly,
maybe.
that would have been less threatening than what
Yeah.
was going on.
I don't know. There's not much more threatening than Florida.
we can't.
It's just Florida. in
Florida man or
general.
Florida woman.
Here's the thing about life: you can't help where you grow up at. You can't, and you got to hope to survive it, which I did. And I rarely go back because I survived it. So you don't go back and go, man.
Well, when you say survive something, you
I
don't
do
want
like
to go
going-
back to something you have to survive again.
I do really enjoy going back when I can to visit my mom and to visit my aunt, and my cousins, and things like that. And there's even, I've heard, a neighborhood watch. I don't know if they're any good, but I bet they're busy. I bet they're extremely busy. So now we know there are a couple of different kinds of pitchforks. We have any more text, Matthew?
No, nothing past the pitchforks.
Well,
Got just a second person backing me up saying pitchforks are indeed used for
all
pitching
right.
hay.
If you see anything that says flaccid on it, that's one of ours. I'm just pointing that out. So usually we get a flaccid text from here or there. If you've never listened to the show, Patrick, who used to be on the show, is on the original poster. By the way, I'm going to get the new posters up pretty soon. He's the hockey guy. He didn't like the word flaccid, and he made the mistake. See, here's a thing in radio. I know it's probably the same in every office or any manufacturing place you work, or even if you're, out working on people's yards and stuff. Never tell someone your weakness. But radio is especially bad.
I feel like
because-
that's just a life lesson. Never
I
tell
would
anybody
say
your
it.
weakness.
Yeah, but if you
generally.
say that a word bothers you, we're going to repeat that word at least 1,000 times and find any way to work that word in, even to the point where I made up the segment Flaccid Stories with Patrick. And it even has its own intro just because it bothered him.
Criminal.
And well, that's what we do, because technically we're your morning show on the weekend at night. And that's what they do. That's what we do. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we are going to talk some San Diego Comicon. You listen to the Upstate Pulse right here on 106.3 WORD. Continuing live on the 106.3 and Upstate Pulse Facebook pages, as well as the Upstate Pulse YouTube and Twitch page.
Right as we go out, we get a bunch of texts coming in,
Oh, that's cool.
responding and all that.
We'll get them when we come back.
All right.
Let us look at the let's I don't do this enough, but if you click on a comment, it will show up right there at the bottom of the screen on our streaming. John asks, did she whip it good? I think she did.
Did she whip it into shape?
She might have. I don't know if she got straight though.
Well, crack that whip.
Yes. Chris says watermellows and witches. I don't even know. Sounds kind of cool. All right. Trey wants to know, what color lightsabers do Gray Jedi use? Purple, like Mace Windu?
No, they normally use white lightsabers, white, or they used to use yellow in some legend stuff.
Yeah.
Whenever I play a video game where you can pick your crystal, I usually go with yellow.
I don't like yellow lightsabers. They look really good. Yellow
Especially
and
if
green are my favorite
if they look
lightsaber
really gold.
colors.
Although if you can get the dark saber, you got to get
My
the dark
favorite
saber. That's
lightsaber.
pretty cool, too.
All right, my favorite lightsaber color was the one from that you could get in SWOTOR. They had black cores
Yeah.
instead of the
Oh,
white
yeah.
core stuff.
Mhm.
So I went with black core with the red outline. It made my Sith look so cool.
Oh yeah, those were really cool. I
And-
remember always seeing those, and I was like, I don't really want to spend money on the game to do that.
I didn't. I put in as much time as I could. I
See,
got
I
to the
couldn't
max
get
amount of
into it.
credits.
Enough because I'm not an ability based or MMO kind of guy. I love the more modern action combat stuff. So like
you
I grew up
change it
playing a
whatever you want.
ton of Terra Online, if you know what that is.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, but it actually just went offline.
We may
on
not
June
have that channel.
30th Was the last day.
Hmm.
It finally.
It's never
died.
good
It's
when
like
like your
scrambled.
childhood like game shut down.
It was sad. There's
Well-
some fan server stuff that's probably going to go into place, so I saved my. Of course, a bunch of people. came
No,
up with,
Steven.
stuff
At least
to,
I
like,
don't think so. Steven's
grab
asked,
your
do
save
any of us
file
have
and
Nerf rival
all
Nemesis?
that from
Yeah.
the servers so that you could do that.
I know one of our listeners, one of the guys who comments a good bit, like has his own Star Wars Galaxy Hero or still plays Galaxy of Heroes, and like I think
Yeah,
he's,
Jax.
like, Jax
Yeah.
is like running stuff off of like a fan server. Well,
Oh,
he'd
that's
have to
awesome.
because Galaxy of Heroes got shut down years ago.
Oh yeah,
That's why I was just like,
So
I
I paid
know
the
that
preferred on
acronym, but-
SWOTOR, which was like $10 or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And it was a one-time deal, or it wasn't every month. What was that? Is you could just pay one little fee and you got a bunch of extra stuff, but you stay in preferred the rest of the time.
yep.
And
There
and
is
I
that.
thought that was enough.
Oh no, yeah, it is. Like I will give SWOTOR credit. It's free to play or the one-time purchase players get everything that you could really want out of it outside of the expansions, of course.
Summonses, decrees, edicts, warrants, patents of nobility. I've even been known to jot down a poem or two of the muse descent. Probably read my book. Book of the Duchess. Fine, well, it was allegorical. Oh, we won't hold that against you. That's for each man to decide for himself.
I think I believe we've already asked when we played this before if Owen had ever seen that movie, and I don't know that he has. A Knight's Tale, which is it's a really good movie. But Matthew, we haven't asked him. Have you seen A Knight's Tale?
It sounds familiar. I'm sure I have, but it's probably been too long to remember much
All
of
right,
it.
that clip that we played, our rejoin was Geoffrey Chaucer, played by Paul Bettany, who is in that movie, and he basically goes. He's what basically his announcer. I mean, his front man.
the Herald.
Yes,
essentially.
he's his front man before they joust. A lot of jousting.
Yes. No, I have 100% seen this movie. I'm gonna have to rewatch it to remember stuff because it's been so long. But yes, no.
One of my
I
favorite
remember- I
one of
remember
my
some
favorite
stuff
things
of it.
about the thing is the fact that it's a tale from the Canterbury Tales, and Geoffrey Chaucer is the one who wrote the Canterbury Tales.
Yep.
So the way that they had him in the movies is like him witnessing the events of all this stuff, including like they had other characters and stuff from the Canterbury Tales, like the Pardoner and the Summoner, various other people. But for the most part, it's like it just stayed in A Knight's Tale. But anyway, it's one of my favorite movies.
Well, and
for a
the
reason.
problem though with Paul Bettany now though is, do I think of Vision? Do I think of him as Geoffrey Chaucer? No, I think of all the things that I heard that he has done with Johnny Depp,
Oh,
which are mostly illegal from what I understand, and no matter what country you're in. And so I can't help but when I
so
hear,
what you're saying is that he wouldn't be alone on the road naked.
no, he probably would be. Well, no, you're right.
He'd have Johnny by
probably,
his
he
side.
probably would be. He probably woke up that way a bunch of times, like, how'd I get here? And still he has a career. Good for him. All right, we text line 71307. Matthew says we got some text.
Yeah, we got some text in right as we were going out. A couple people wanted to wrap up talking about the whips. One texter we got texting in, I think the whip should go in the hand that matches your dominant eye so that you can actually aim it better. For most people, the smart hand and dominant eye are on the same side, but for some people, such as themselves, they're cross-eye dominant. So they're left-handed, but they shoot with their right hand because their right eye is their smart eye.
Dude.
That was a lot to process.
It was a very
I need
long.
you to read that text one more time.
So what they were basically saying was that they think your whip should not necessarily go in your dominant hand, but on the side that has your dominant eye. So whichever eye sees best, because our eyes are they're a little different.
Well,
I've never heard this before.
I understand that logic, but also if you're using, let's say you're better with your left, I think now the question is, can you be right hand dominant but like be left eye dominant?
Well, that's what the texter was
How do you
saying.
tell which eye is the most? I mean, I guess you said it matches usually which one.
Well, I mean,
whichever one you have better vision in.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like if you like try to squint, do you close your left eye or your right eye?
There's a reason that if you've ever gone to an eye doctor before, you cover one eye, and because they have to diagnose both. Each eye separately because they're a little different. You're asymmetrical. Our bodies are asymmetrical.
Well, so. I think ears are the same. I don't know, but I think ears are the same because 100%. when I'm mixing something and putting something together, and my ears are still pretty good, which is surprising after 25 years of radio and working with really loud people. But I will turn my head. I will turn my head to the right, so my left ear hears more than my right because it can pick more things up. As far as
the same with me.
Yeah,
my left ear hears a bit better than my right.
Steven's wanting to know how the ceiling project's going.
What ceiling project?
We haven't started on it yet. I might have mentioned that Rob asked me what I was doing this weekend on the Rob Brown Show on our brother station. And I mentioned that we were moving my daughter into a new house, which we did yesterday.
We had a couple other texts coming in. One for you, Lonzo, specifically on the topic of flaccid. If your word that you don't like is flaccid, then your content must not be exciting enough, is what they're saying to us.
No, my word was not flaccid. It was someone else's.
Oh,
word.
It's someone else's.
Yeah,
word.
It was not my word. By the way, words don't bother me unless you're cursing, and that's a problem, especially on the air because you're not supposed to do that. No, I never had a problem with the word, but someone else did, and so I used the word because they had a problem with it.
Yeah, that's the whole bit. I mean, there's nothing flaccid about this show.
That whole sticks and stones thing, that's first of all, it's a bunch of crap because words can hurt you, and they do hurt you quite a bit. Sometimes words can hurt you more than a baseball bat. Not that I know from experience.
Yeah, sometimes you'd rather just take the baseball bat.
All right.
But
if you also want to be a part of the show, text line is 71307. Do we have any more?
We have one as well coming in wanted to talk, wrap up a little bit on Stranger Things here. Hey guys, shout out to Kid Flaccid. You need to watch Stranger Things theory video they did saying that Vecna abducted Will in season 1, not the Demogorgon.
All right. So Cameron and I have had this discussion off the air, and he doesn't believe that the Mind Flayer is over everything. I think the Mind Flayer is over everything. I really do. I don't think Vecna is over everything. When one was sent into the Upside Down, the Mind Flayer was there. It wasn't like he created the Mind Flayer. It was already there.
Let me explain how I believe this is all set up. So I do believe that Vecna is the main cause of all this because he tapped into the power of the Mind Flayer. The Mind Flayer was the shadow that powers all the rest of the Upside Down creatures.
Which would make it in control.
Not necessarily. Because the other thing to explain is if it wasn't in control, why wasn't all the vines and stuff in there? There was a whole bunch of things that are currently in the Upside Down that are going on in the show as compared to the barren, rocky wasteland that it was when Henry first showed up.
All right. So
Henry is the one who changed it. He was the catalyst for the change. He shaped it into the world that he wanted. A world of apex predators, a world of spiders.
All right. So do you agree with Cameron, or do you agree with me, or do you have your own theory about Stranger Things in the Upside Down. Text line 71307. I will tell you a theory that I have, and apparently some other people have had this. I mentioned it to Tara Servatius, and she was not happy. And she said if that is true, she would not be happy at all. My belief is all this is just a D&D session. And at the end, they're going to show the kids around the table. And that's the end of the show.
Yo, you just kind of mind blasted me a little bit there.
None of this is real. It's all a D&D session. And the fact that all the monsters are D&D monsters, it isn't like they're just, that looks like Vecna, so we'll call him Vecna. They called him Vecna before they even knew who he was. I think it's a D&D session. Now the question is, are there adults playing D&D? Or is it those kids that were first playing it at the very beginning in the first season? Is it them playing D&D? And how many of these characters that we're seeing on Stranger Things are real or NPCs or just characters that they made up for, that someone around the table is playing? Is 11 real? There's a lot of people. Are they real? There's no way Murray is a real person. That is a psycho NPC right there.
Yes, but his arms are like arrows.
When suddenly the guy knows a bunch of languages. Suddenly you find out he knows kung fu. Suddenly you find out he knows how to use a flamethrower.
Look, people can grow over time. You can learn to use a flamethrower.
Yeah,
you're not born learning,
but not
how
to the
use a
effect
flamethrower.
that he uses it to destroy a ton of. No, so
it's not hard to use a flamethrower. You point and you click.
Have you ever used a flamethrower?
I don't want to disclose that on the air.
Okay. All right. I know you can buy one. We need to take our final break of the hour. You listen to the Upstate Pulse right here on 106.3 WORD. I didn't say I know where to. I didn't say I know a guy, but I might. And we'll just. Ooh,
yeah, I got a guy.
Okay, I know a guy. I know a guy. When you're from them streets, you know guys. That's what you do. You listen to the Upstate Pulse right over here.
That's how you end it?
It's my Terra ending. I got to do it at least once per show.
And Tones is right.
No, right. I know.
Flamethrowers,
That's
perfectly legal.
That's why I said I know a guy. I know a bunch of guys. I know. Just go to a website. You can buy a flamethrower.
Yeah.
Which I probably could use where I live to kill off all the possums. But then the people in the sanctuary would be upset.
Yeah. They'd be very huffy, them in their seersucker suits.
58.49 on the out.
Yes.
Still need to get a bamboo stick.
Well, yeah, there's the close is what you do for that.
Yeah. Do you want any segments?
I was trying to think about because flames were
Flamethrowers.
mentioned. I think we may need to play something here.
For Flornus.
So I can't remember what it's called. The commercial.
I mean, you could use a smaller one. It's like a tame flamethrower. It doesn't have to be big.
Yeah.
How to mitigate your pyro.
No, that's not it. Pulse parody.
Oh, that's not good.
That's it. Come back with that. Okay.
Oh yeah, don't get that tangled up.
What are you doing, man?
Saving the day.
Here he
Saving
comes
the
to save the
day.
day.
Tone says he uses his for hornets. Oh, man, that would be pretty good. But me with the flamethrower would be bad because we live in the woods surrounded by like 30, 40-foot trees. I would be catching stuff on fire. It would not be good.
Yeah, don't do that because then you'd end up burning my house down.
I would
too.
die in an inferno.
No.
And I would disco the entire time.
I got the reference.
I was not some of the older people did.
No, I got it. I don't want to acknowledge it.
Burn, baby, burn.
It's been 10 minutes and we're down 2-0 already.
You ever had a fight in a burning disco? You ever been to a Turkish prison? I'm not going to say the rest of the lines, but I got to quote
You can
Airplane
get
at
one
least
of
once.
those Martha Stewart things to make creme brulee with. I don't think I've ever had creme brulee. The only person in this room who might have had creme brulee is Owen. Looks like a creme brulee guy.
Like you're stereotyping me a little bit there, Lonzo.
It's fancy. I mean,
Do I look like the fancy?
absolutely. That's why I was saying
Absolutely,
that.
man.
I saw you wearing
You
like a
exude
suit
You got
last
the
week.
lavish lifestyle.
That makes you fancy.
Owen, you exude class and refinement.
There you go.
Why?
There you go.
I'll take that as a compliment, I guess.
That was
You know what? I
that was
don't know if I've
bubbly.
had creme
That was
brulee yet
gurgly.
before, but Trey,
I like that.
I'm not even gonna look
I
up to
love
see.
that voice.
I don't know if you spelled it right, but you got all those things that you put on top of them letters. You got those. Sorry, my tourists are going off again, but you got those things on top of the. That's Chris Evans would know these.
Literally just the voice that I do with whenever I joke the Wingard. Have you ever seen the Wingardium Leviosa
Yeah.
thing?
Have you
That is
ever
literally the same
coffee
voice
on
that
the
he uses.
Titanic?
Yeah.
I don't drink coffee.
Thing.
If I was on the Titanic, I'd have been
Thanks,
in the
dude. I
band,
find it funny.
and I'd have rocked that thing on my way down.
That's how bards do it.
Trey said I had to Google and copy. Okay, I was just curious. I mean, yeah.
Hey, you
All right.
didn't have to admit that. You could just
All right.
say
Mark
that you know.
says Vecna has telekinetic powers, which were used to open Will's door. Demogorgons do not. This is a lot of things that I don't know. I don't know.
No.
Nothing blackens up your shindig or who man like a t-shirt gun that spits fire. So come on down to Billy Joe Give Rock Jr.'s youth trailers and hot tub accessory emporium today.
Can't help it. That just reminded me of something. So if you want to be a part of the show, text line 71307, and we're easily influenced. We absolutely are.
I'm convinced this show is just a fever dream.
Feels
Yeah.
like a little bit.
Yeah, I'm actually only 9 years old, and I'm the one having the dream. You know why, Cameron? Because this is my story.
You know, it is the dream because we've got textures coming in just to tell us, okay, Lonzo and guys,
Let's
a
go cry
pleasure
about it.
and great first hour.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We appreciate that. I could speak for the rest of the people.
Oh yeah.
Any more texts? Just a lot of attaboys.
One last little thing off on Stranger Things. Someone wanted to reply. Vecna is the one that created the Mind Flare. It even says so in season 4. He brought it together and models it after a Black Widow.
See, that's another thing is the shadow could have taken the shape based off of Vecna's perception.
So you're using words like perception and things like that. I don't think any of it's real. I think it's all D&D session. I still do. I absolutely do. And I think if that happens, there will be, an outcry across
That's what I was about to say.
the world, except for the D&D people who I think will think it's pretty cool.
Well, I mean, from that first episode where it zoomed in on the basement and they were all playing and going crazy, I feel like for it to end like that, and whether it's in a long form way or it just cuts to them playing and that's it, I don't know. I feel like it would be a little satisfying.
All right, Mark on the YouTube page says, Lonzo, as compelling as your "it was a game all along" theory is, Steve's reaction to Dustin's girlfriend being real was too funny to be just a D&D session. See, that depends on how you play D&D. When we play, you're going to see that we're fully going RP in the thing.
Oh yeah.
To the point where there's going to be some anger, there's going to be some fighting, there's going to be some fun, there's going to be a lot of stuff. So I could see that happening in a D&D session, especially an all-star studded D&D session like we're going to do. We got news people, we got radio people, we got some people who are, I'm not quite sure if they're people, and it's going to be fun.
I feel like I'm one of those.
No, that would be Rob Brown because he's AI. He's and by the way, birds aren't real. So it's still, yeah.
I'm waiting for them to come flying by.
Yeah, like last week.
Yeah, didn't they do that like on cue?
Yeah, that was weird. Well, it wasn't weird for me. It was weird for everyone else in the room
Was it weird?
who hadn't witnessed it, who don't believe that the birds do that.
But they do.
They do.
And they didn't.
Yeah, wow.
Here's the thing: when you expect the birds, that's not when they're coming. They'll come when they're unexpected.
I don't have that power, I guess.
Although there have been,
You don't have the power of birds.
my crows haven't been there for a while, and I'm disappointed because I have crows that are like, if you're watching on the stream, they're like this big. They are really big crows, and I've heard that you can teach crows how to talk. So I say the same thing to them every morning. I say, "What up, crows?" Because I want the crows to say, "What up, Lonzo?" before I get in my car. When that happens, after the initial shock is over, I'm gonna think that was pretty cool, and then I'm gonna come
Are
to
they
work.
crows or are they kinku?
I don't even know what that thing is you just said.
It's from D&D.
It's a D&D race.
Okay, well,
They're
I'm
little
not as
bird crow
proficient in the
people.
lingo as you guys are.
I had to deal with a whole bunch of kinku gangsters one time. It was kind of annoying.
All I know is there were a lot of birds out there last week, and it was they did that thing where they all did this pattern in the air, then they all landed on the
On
power,
the
lines,
and just
and they
stared at
just
you.
sat out there for a while. It was wild. They've surrounded my car before. I know everyone thinks it's a joke, but I took pictures. I got pictures on my phone, and I think I posted it, if I recall, of all the birds around my car. They left me one little feather, and it was underneath my windshield wiper.
By the way, I just imagine you coming out and talking to the crows like some retired necromancer.
I do talk to crows. I live out in the middle of the woods on a compound, basically. There's no one out there can hear
Hello,
me.
crows.
I talk to the crows and I talk to the squirrels, but you have to talk to the squirrels because those things are dangerous.
No, you don't talk to the squirrels. You talk down to
All right,
the
I
squirrels.
threaten the squirrels. is
Yeah,
what
you
I do.
intimidate the
Yeah,
squirrels.
you got to do that.
They don't belong there.
If you give the squirrels 1 inch, you're in trouble. You're absolutely in trouble.
Very territorial creatures.
All right,
squirrels.
we've got a little bit of time left before the end of this hour. We got a ton of stuff we're going to get into the next hour, including South Carolina, including San Diego. Comic-Con.
Lonzo.exe has stopped working.
Yes.
Please reboot.
Please stand by.
1% scanning.
Yes. All right. Scientists are using the Beatles to fight dementia. I think this is really cool. The key to treating dementia, take 2 Beatles records and call me in the morning is what the story said. Researchers are using the music of the Beatles and other artists to determine how listening to music can impact memory in older adults. The team would scan people's brains while they listen to a 1-hour playlist of their favorite songs, measuring neurological response. They found that music can help open up parts of the brain that get cut off in elderly people, particularly those with dementia. Now, as an elderly person myself, I will say I find it amazing that I can remember the words to a Bee Gees song, and I can't remember the name of a starting running back from a college team that I cover. And there are lyrics. A song will come on that I haven't heard in 20 years, and I can remember every single lyric, but I can't remember other stuff. And I think this is a great study, and I can't wait to see what their findings are. Is there a way to take the memory that you have? And I think a lot of it has to do with repetition for songs, because your favorite songs, you sing them. And if you sing them over and over again, it gets ingrained in your brain. It becomes muscle memory. If you can take that and use it for something else that you're having trouble remembering. And if it's able to help dementia patients, that will be excellent. And my memory goes a little more all the time. And unfortunately, I'm being called upon to be memory of other people around me, which becomes a struggle sometimes. But I always had trouble with names. And I remember a Happy Days episode. And, you guys probably don't know what Happy Days is.
Heard of it. That's it.
All right. There was a Happy Days episode where Potsy was trying to get ready. His name was Potsy. That was his nickname.
Oh, Potsy's a dude?
Yeah, Potsy's the dude.
Sounds like a girl name.
No, Potsy's like the most straightest, nerdiest guy of the group. In order for Potsy to work on the test, I believe it was Fonzie told him, hey, put the questions and answers like a song. And so, because he was a singer. And so that's how he was able to remember the answer. And believe it or not, I used that a bunch as a kid. I turned everything into a song in my head and I was able to remember. So this is one of those studies that I think could actually turn out really good. It's not, hey, let's see why people go to the beach. Maybe they'll give us a grant, because there's a grant out there for something like that. You listen to the Upstate Pulse right here on 106.3 WORD, continuing live on the 106.3 and Upstate Pulse Facebook pages and on YouTube and Twitch.
Also, Vecna protection.
I agree, Tones. The CIA is watching because we're on a list. We already know we're on that list, and that's fine.
Because we're just that interesting that the CIA puts down whatever they're doing to watch us.
Well, I don't know about you. You are being sarcastic, but I'm being completely serious. We're on a list.
The CIA loves this
You,
show.
you and I are on a list, Matthew,
Oh yeah.
because of
Is
where
this-
we work. We are absolutely
we're
on a
definitely
list.
on a list.
I've been on that list a long time. I don't care.
I also just like the idea of
Where does he go? He goes home. What does he do? Plays a game or watches TV or something. Yeah, I go nowhere. I do nothing except for here. I love being here. This is awesome. This is my house.
God, why do I have to be on this duty again? Come on. Give me at least one of the crazies.
You know, we've got the Meg on, which I've never watched. It's amazing. Not amazing, but I'm surprised at some of the stars that are actually in this movie. And I wonder how many of them actually make it to the end. Hey, look, the name of the boat's the Charlotte.
Huh.
There's something mean I could say right now, Keith, but I'm not. I'll just say keeping up with them boys. Has anyone in this room ever used a harpoon before?
No.
They're going after the megalodon. They have a harpoon. I always want to shoot a harpoon.
Seems like a really cool thing to shoot, but
Freaking megalodon. No way you could kill it with just a harpoon.
Well, true.
Never say never.
So if you had the chance, and this goes out to people on the stream too, stream exclusive content, I'm asking you a question, and there's no variation. You got to pick one or the other. Shoot a harpoon or use a flamethrower. Which one are you going with?
I don't know.
that's a good question. I don't know.
I think I'd also go with the flamethrower.
I'd probably go with the flamethrower because I think like just
No,
shooting
no,
the
I'm just
harpoon
talking
is
about
kinda
being able to
cool
use it in
one-time thing.
general. I'm not talking
You know-
about your
you know,
life's in
but
danger or
If you're shooting
something.
a flamethrower, you can also do something really fun with it. Like you could set up a little roast, and you could roast some meat
Exactly.
with the flamethrower.
All right, we're going to bring this to the air because I'm curious.
I think
Because
that's cool.
a harpoon isn't one and done.
All right, again, like I just told Owen, there's no danger involved. This is like going to a shooting range, except for you're at the shooting range. You have the option.
So what
You can
you're
use a
saying is-
flamethrower or you could shoot a harpoon.
Okay. No risk of us burning.
No.
burning
Well,
ourselves.
there's always the harpoon could accidentally go off and go through your leg. I don't know. I mean, there's the normal dangers that you would have. Okay, there's an instructor there with you at all times, so you're good. Okay,
I remember.
it's
I
either the
remember-
flamethrowing instructor or it's the harpoon dude.
You know, there was a harpoon mishap with good old one-legged Pete. He then became no-legged Pete. Two peg-legged Pete. Peg squared.
All right, we are definitely getting some interest in this on the
Why?
stream.
What is that comment? Squatch with a flamethrower?
You don't know about squatching?
I know. Okay, are you squatching with a flamethrower, or is a squatch with a flamethrower?
Oh, that's good. There's no comma there.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to get to you. It's like it's a Sasquatch with a flamethrower.
Oh, well, maybe there should have
Why
been a
is
comma.
that a question? Are we concerned?
We haven't started on that yet, Stephen. We're doing that tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll be taking
It's-
that.
it's an
apart
all-day
tomorrow.
thing.
Yeah,
He knows what a squatch is, Keith. He knows it's a Bigfoot.
I'm aware.
We're trying to. He's
I'm trying to
being
decipher the.
he's being critical of Chris's
I am
message,
not being critical.
which you should not.
I am
'cause
terrified of the.
I know
of
what
the
he used to do.
prospect.
I don't think Sasquatch would ever want to use a flamethrower. He'd just catch
Yeah,
himself on
yeah,
fire.
that would be a problem. That'd be problematic. Although
What about a
really
hairless
hairy men
Sasquatch?
smoke, so I mean, it could. Do, I mean, not all really hairy men smoke, but some of them do, and so they take a chance. So why
Maybe
not?
I'll take you up on that, Steven.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen.
What are your rates?
Nah, we're gonna do this. We haven't done it before.
That's
why-
why. That's
that's
why I'm
always
asking about
fun.
his rates.
It's always fun.
So when we inevitably botch this,
Yes,
there's
a
a
flaming
hole in my
Sasquatch
roof.
would be epic as long as he never burn up. If he's just like always on fire.
oh, you're talking about the ever flaming Squatch.
Yes.
The ever flaming squatch.
Take that how you will.
But
But
I think he lives in Hawaii. I'm just guessing. Those aren't really
Oh,
volcanoes.
I wish I knew the Hawaiian word, like the actual like language for that. It's
So-
just some guy yells.
You got a phone? You can look it up.
What is like the what's like the ancient Hawaiian language?
Samoan.
Matthew. Yeah, you know what?
That could be
Samoan would
Samoan.
work.
Yeah, Samoan does work. It's
I only know that because of DJ Uyanga.
there you go. Aloha means hello and goodbye.
Ohana means family.
It
Family
does.
means nobody gets left behind.
Chris says, I knew a Squatch who did ceiling work. Probably. I mean, probably didn't need a ladder either. I mean, that helps.
This is Sasquatch Moo Moo.
What? What's a
Flaming
Sasquatch? Sasquatch Moo Moo? Is
Yeah.
it? Or it's not Moo Moo? Okay. I wasn't expecting that. Are you sure it's
Look,
Moo Moo?
Well,
As
look,
soon as
Google
I-
translates awful, but look, this is what it says in Samoan.
What is Sasquatch in Hawaiian?
I don't think they have a name for Sasquatch because they've never. Have
I
there
hope
been
it
any-
comes up like Bob or something like that. 'Cause that would be awesome.
It is Bob. I don't know why I went with that kind of dialect.
Yeah.
Aikanana.
Oh,
Aikanana.
that's kind of like Hi Caramba.
So Aikanana Mumu.
Hi Kanana Moo Moo.
Aikanana Mumu.
Well, you know, they make laxatives and stuff for that, I think. I'm not sure. Welcome into hour number 2 of the Upstate Pulse Iconana Mumu. And we are going to have a blast. What?
Without any context.
Right. This is some people might have known what that. I hope you didn't tell me something that wasn't what it actually was, and then I said that.
No,
and
he
then,
said that, and then all right. So
all right, so we're
Owen-
blaming it on Owen.
look, Owen supplied
It's all right, because if he made me say something I shouldn't have said, he should have dumped it. So it'd be his fault.
of all the things to get dumped for. It's the supposed
Okay.
Hawaiian way to say a flaming Sasquatch.
So for those not
Okay,
watching on our social media, which you should be, we were talking during the break about Sasquatch and flamethrowers for a little bit of context.
Yes, we were.
Is that context?
And it is. It's enough.
It's enough.
And Owen looked up Sasquatch in Hawaiian.
And there is an IMBD description here. There was one alleged Bigfoot, aka Aikanana, sighting in Oahu back in 1973.
There we go. Iconanu.
Hope I said that
Back
right.
in you did. All right. So this hour we're just going crazy because we did that last hour too. And as Matthew pointed out, this show continues during breaks, and we talk about a bunch of crazy stuff, which is no different than what we're talking about on the air. It's a continuation of the show, which originally is why we decided. One of the reasons why we decided to do this was because some of our conversations off the air, while spontaneous and fun, didn't make it on the air. And we don't like, I've never liked, setting up a bit in a way where you're acting something out unless you're purposefully doing it bad on. Well, I don't like doing that.
You prefer improv to
I
thespianism.
do. And we had an improv specialist on here before. His name was Larry, and I think Larry was surprised about how much improv radio really is, especially on a show like this. But a lot of radio is improv because you are feeding off of either a guest or you're feeding off of phone calls or texts. That's what you're doing. Some would call it reacting, some would call it improv, but it's kind of the same thing. I mean,
think on your feet a
They're
lot.
one and the same to a degree. Yeah.
they are. All right. So the question I had off the air, I can't remember what brought it up, but who cares? If you were at a gun range, and I'm saying gun range, you're at a range, okay? And you have the opportunity, you have to pick one. And I hate those people who say, well, I'll just do that. No. Here's the game, okay? If you choose to play it, you play the way that we're setting it out. You have to pick one or the other. You're at the range. It's perfectly safe.
Them's the rules.
You've got instructors on either side. One of those instructors can show you how to use a flamethrower. The other instructor can show you how to use a harpoon. So
Is there like an X and an A over their heads?
yeah,
like,
they're wearing
as a
no,
choice
they're
for, like,
wearing hats. So one is an instructor for a flamethrower, one for a harpoon. You can only pick one. Which one do you do? Text line 71307. We already started this on our Facebook and YouTube pages, and some people like Tone says, I haven't used a harpoon, so I'll try it, which means he's used a flamethrower, and we've already been talking about flamethrowers. So I'm going to go ahead and go first. If I had the opportunity to use either a flamethrower or a harpoon, I'm using a harpoon. I know it's probably going to surprise people, but I think a harpoon would be awesome. Especially if it had like a rope hook to it. And I don't know if this has to do with with a flamethrower, you got a much better shot of getting something. Because if you don't hit your target, you're catching everything on fire.
So what you're saying
If
is you
you-
prefer a skill-based weapon.
Yeah. So if you miss with a harpoon, you missed. I mean, you just missed. But with a flamethrower, you got a shot at hitting whatever's in your way and maybe some things that shouldn't be hit. With a harpoon, you've got to be more precise. So I'm going to go with a harpoon. Owen, harpoon or flamethrower?
Flamethrower, because I'm assuming this instructor isn't going to want to waste a bunch of harpoons willy-nilly. And if you miss the first one, you probably ain't getting a second one. At least I could burn a bunch of stuff in my first try with the flamethrower.
Who says he didn't get a whole bunch of things from the harpoon surplus?
Hey,
Who says that they can't just go and grab the harpoon that you just shot and reload it?
It's
Yeah,
a harpoon. It's really not going to break on
Hey,
anything.
there's some kid on a golf cart, like a Top Golf. He's going and he's gathering the harpoons afterwards.
These
That's-
things-
I can't say that. I can't say that. All right, keep going.
Listen, if harpoons can shoot as far as they could in the Game of Thrones season 8 finale where they were shooting at Daenerys' dragon, man, I'm not going to retrieve that thing. Have fun.
Well, there are different sizes of harpoons. And I don't know what the biggest harpoon, I guess the biggest harpoon would probably be for whales. And I don't even know if they even have those anymore. You probably would have to get them in a museum. But I will say there are places where you can go axe throwing, where you can throw shuriken and things like that. I'm sure there's probably a place around it. If not, there should be. And if there is, if you come up with it, finder's fee right over here for harpoons. All right. So Matthew, harpoon or flamethrower?
So my question with this, if I pick flamethrower, can I have them set up a rotisserie chicken in front of the target?
Yeah, but see, the problem with that is this is your first time using a flamethrower. You're probably not going to get, you're probably going to burn that chicken up. I'm just saying.
Well, yes,
You're not going
but
to get a very
there's still a
even cook.
novelty to it, even if it's burnt, of eating a chicken that was cooked with a flamethrower.
I agree, but if I were you, I'd go for like a pig
I was about to say,
Because-
go big.
yeah,
because you
that'd
got
probably
to
cook a lot better.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
You go with a chicken or something like that, it's smart. So even
It's
if you
more
burn,
fragile too, because it would probably
Yeah,
fall apart
that's
a
a
lot
good
more.
point.
A pig would be a lot more sturdy.
yeah,
I
and
agree.
if some of the outer got charred, you can peel that off, and you got more of the tenderloin underneath
Yeah,
for the pig. All right, Cameron, harpoon or flamethrower?
Look, I gotta be team flamethrower. It's just it's
Thank
more fun to set things on fire.
All right, so I am.
Because you get the whole experience. You get the smells, the sights.
I don't know, man. Setting things on fire is kind of exhilarating. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
that's
Mr.
why
Pyromaniac.
that's why we are on team flamethrower.
I just want to throw this out there. We at WORD and the Upstate Pulse are not do not condone arson of any
Condone?
type. Cantone is it's a rapper from the south side of South Carolina of the Upstate. Yes. Text line 71307. Do we have any texts, Matthew?
No, not for a little bit. No one wants to comment on that on the text
All
line,
right, so
but we have a
text line-
couple on our live channels.
Well, go ahead.
Keith says he wants to try driving by harpooning. I think that sounds pretty.
Yeah, a
unique.
drive-by harpooning would be a little more difficult, but
Watch
if you-
out, man! It's
No,
the
no.
it's the Whaler gang.
here's what you got to
It's
think
the
about.
Whalers. They're coming for us.
The only way to do a drive-by with a harpoon is you got to be on a boat.
I think when
you
he
have to
said-
be on a
Yo,
boat.
bro.
I think
hide
when
your
he says
mama.
drive by harpooning, he means harpooning in front of him and then using that to pull his car forward. I don't think he means actually doing a drive by
Oh,
with
no, I
harpoons.
thought he was saying like doing a drive-by with the harpoon.
He didn't do a
I just
hyphen
imagine like
between drive
all
and
these
by.
Captain
so.
Ahab looking guys. It's like a minivan.
Florida man found dead after being shot in a drive-by harpooning accident.
See, we're saying all this, and it probably will happen this week.
We do not condone.
I mean, if there's going to be a drive-by
Yar,
harpooning,
these
it would
yar
happen.
streets.
It would happen in
Look,
Florida. Absolutely.
I don't condone drive-by harpooning. It's not a good practice.
The things we come up with.
It's
on
a fever
air.
dream. It's all a fever dream.
All right. Mark says if it's the GOT mega harpoon, I'd shoot that. Otherwise, flamethrower. All right. So,
Just the kerchunk from that would be fun. I don't know if that's a
all right.
verb or if
Keith
it's
says nope. A drive-by and a pickup with a harpoon launcher in the back.
which Keith has thought about this.
Yeah, which I think I may have made in a zombie game at some point. When you can make your own weapons, I
that
might have
does
done
sound
that.
like a very zombie vehicle.
Tone says this is going to be on YFF in a few days. It could be. It could be.
My job is to report the news, not become the news.
Exactly. And yeah, if it happens, we'll get the exclusive here right here on WORD with Matthew Causey, who has the breaking news stories without a doubt. All right. Speaking of a breaking news story, and I don't know that this will affect or that anybody else can comment on this, maybe Cameron, but I know the text line can 71307. We got the news yesterday, or Vince McMahon has been in quite a bit of trouble. And if you want to read it, we don't need to go into detail anymore about, there's been a lot of exploits that he's had, mostly sexual, and a lot of money paid out to the point where he's being investigated. And if it was going to be found that he used company money to do it, and when we say money, it's like $2 million payouts, $7 million payouts, stuff like that. Unusual amounts of money to pay people off. So yesterday we got the news. I actually broke the news on our brother station, the Rob Brown Show with Rob Brown, that Triple H, also known as Paul Levesque, was reinstated as EVP of talent. And there has been a thing for a lot of people so Triple H was over NXT for a while, and he brought it to a level that a lot of people watched NXT and didn't watch Raw and SmackDown because of how good it was. This is a wrestler who married into the company and who was able to understand how things should have been done. He had some heart problems. He was out of the company for a while. He got renamed back to his old position yesterday, and he wondered if it was an indication of what was going to happen with Vince McMahon. Well, last night, right before SmackDown went on the air, Vince McMahon completely retired from the WWE. That means not just as CEO, but as head of talent. He is, from all stories that I've read, completely gone from the WWE. So SmackDown, I thought SmackDown would start last night with Vince McMahon, but he was not even on TV. When the first allegations happened a couple weeks ago, he was on both of his programs, just out there in front of everybody. Now suddenly he's gone. Now he's an older guy. He's 77 years old, and he has said that he's just going to retire because it was time. I think we all know the timing has something to do with the fact
because he was caught,
that he was being investigated. So Stephanie is the CEO, and she's going to share duties with President Khan. His last name's Khan. Okay.
No, I mean,
no relation to Tony Khan, who owns AEW. That's what they say. They say there's no relation. So anyway, and what most wrestling fans are wanting to see is, will Triple H be the one in control of all storylines and things like that? And can the WWE rise back from where it was? Because a lot of people have liked AEW better, including Rob Brown, Rob Young. Both those guys were on last week. A couple of guys who were co-hosts here on the Upstate Pulse, Patrick and Angry Zach, both big time AEW fans. I'm not opposed to AEW, but when the product first started, it wasn't, it was there as far as talent goes, but as far as production, and because this is acting, it's athletic acting is what it is. But when there are botches, when someone goes to kick someone and they miss them by, 6 feet and the guy still acts like he got knocked out, that's a problem. And it also has to do with camera angles and things like that. If you've ever been to a live production, you should go to the WWE, which is coming around here August 5th. Friday Night SmackDown will be at the Well, and looking forward to going and seeing it. Just from a production standpoint, even if you've never been a fan of wrestling, to see how tight that company is as opposed to some of the things that AEW does. I went to Columbia a couple months ago to see AEW, and they're getting close, but they're not quite there. So I think a lot of wrestling fans are looking forward to see what happens. And it was time for Vince to go. It absolutely was time for him to go. He should have went a lot sooner than what he did. So we're going to find out what happened, what happens with WWE going forward, and will more stories come out? Because I've heard interviews with the Wall Street Journal guys who, and yes, it's the Wall Street Journal talking about wrestling, who have brought out these stories about all these things that being alleged and the payouts and stuff. So looking forward to seeing what wrestling is going to be like now. Also, don't know if it has to do with anything, but WWE just decided to go to drop their basically rated PG rating to go to rated R. So is this because of AEW? Is this because Vince McMahon is gone and they're going to change their programming back to kind of what it was before? I don't want to see nasty versus nasty. I don't. One thing about WWE is it was family friendly for a long time. Will it no longer be? I still have, I believe, part of AEW, all the little kids cursing in the crowd and stuff. That just bothers me. You know, if that kid, chances are when he's at home says that curse word, his dad's smacking him across the head. But it's okay for him to do it in public and be on camera. So I have a problem with that, but you know what? I am old. So Vince McMahon is gone. We'll see if it changes the face of wrestling, because that's what Vince McMahon did. Wrestling would not be where it is and what it is today without his vision and everything he did to, it used to be territorial. He brought it into one company, got it on TV, made Hulk Hogan a star, and the rest is history. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we are going to hit the roundtable. You're listening to Upstate Pulse right here on 106.3 WORD, continuing live on the 106.3 and Upstate Pulse Facebook pages and the Upstate Pulse YouTube and Twitch page. Yeah, you did, Keith. That was awesome. So Keith says we tried a few moves when we were trying to make our movie. I got rattled, laugh out loud, slammed by you and Frank, I think. It was us. So
It was us who slammed you.
so we wrote a movie. It was a Friday the 13th movie. Wrote out the entire script. We filmed some of the stuff. Wrote a commercial, a couple commercials. We actually filmed the entire commercial. Man, I wish we could find out, which was Bartles and James Blood Cooler. I think I've described it here before. Bartles and James was a wine cooler commercial back in the day, which had a dude, an old guy with suspenders and a hat and stuff, and another guy who never said anything. So when we filmed the commercial, this was on VHS, a big, huge VHS camera that my cousin had. So Keith's brother Nick actually held the camera for a lot of that commercial. And so no cue cards or nothing. So I wrote everything out and taped it to the bottom of the camera while he was standing there so I could read it all. And he kind of had a country backwoods kind of feel to him, but kind of like how I did that commercial we just played. Mm-hmm. But I did that all the way through, and I think it was first take. And in the background, the guy who's supposed to be James, which was my cousin Cece, Keith's brother, was back there trying to get blood into a bottle. And then Keith was dressed up as Jason, walks out, snaps his neck, grabs a bottle, walks up the whole time I'm talking. This is all going on in the background. I raise my hand up, and Jason puts the bottle in my hand, and it was good. It really was good. And but we wrote the whole Jason movie, and part of it was we had like 3 to 4 guys who were all the same size. So you couldn't figure out who it was. I think I had one of my friends, I don't know if we got to that point, supposed to be sitting in front of a tree singing the theme from The Love Boat, just because I thought that would be funny.
I like it.
But we come running around the corner, and Keith is dressed up as Jason, and Frank and I dove at him. I hit him with one shoulder. Frank hit him with the other shoulder. So we hit Keith and both dressed as Jason in both shoulders. We both rolled off of him to our feet and just tore him up. But we really hit him. So
yeah, I didn't.
It was back in our wrestling. It was back in our wrestling days, so we were in really good shape. So
feel bad for Keith.
I get what you're saying, Mark, about AEW. The problem is oversaturation, and it's been poo-pooed by guys like Rob Young and Rob Brown about no, actually Rob Young agrees with me. Rob Brown thinks that it's not
Rob?
true. Yeah, the exalted Rob is with me on this, but you can't hire every cast off from WWE, because if you hire everybody, then not enough people get screen time. And the whole point was to build some younger guys, which they built some, but not enough. It was fun, Keith. You're right. Yeah, I did, Mark. I saw that.
Owen is the character that hasn't been unlocked yet.
Yeah.
Come back with Nerd Roundtable. Did you? Okay. All right.
What's the call out for Smash Bros where like you're fighting the new person?
New challenger.
A new challenger approaches.
A new challenger.
No, it's not until August.
Ice climbers.
You're much better at that than I am.
I used to play Smash.
There's a bunch
so
of
I've
stuff you
heard
can
those
watch.
announcements so many times.
Yeah.
And I also have a
Yeah, there are
voice.
D&D sessions all over
It
the place.
helps.
A bunch of celebrities playing. And stuff.
Not silent. Well, I sound like
This
Mickey
is ours,
Mouse, so
probably
it doesn't
someone
really
that you've
help.
heard of before.
Yeah.
Here we come.
Oh boy, here we come.
So say I'm the high pitched crazy person.
The Upstate Pulse presents.
All right, time to hit the roundtable. A lot of things to talk about as far as things that have dropped in San Diego Comicon, but we also like to ask a question within the roundtable because we're, supposed to not complain, debate about it. One of the things that a story that broke, I'm sure everyone here has been to an amusement park of some type, right? Everyone been to an amusement park?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The happiest place on earth took a turn for the worst after two families got into a fight at Disney's Magic Kingdom. Things took a turn for the worst when a woman was with her family at Mickey's PhilharMagic Theater. When she jumped out of line to get her phone, she left on a wheelchair. When she tried to get back to her family, things got violent when another family blocked her from getting back to her family. According to witnesses, about 20 people were involved in the melee. Once things calmed down, reports are a man was transported to a hospital with a large cut in his chin. You can watch the melee, the fracas, the whatever it is online, and it doesn't seem to be as bad as the story's making it out to be. So my question is,
I was about to say, when you say a melee, it just sounds, violent.
yeah, but I said melee because I said it wrong, but I appreciate you pointing that out so everyone knows that I messed up and wasn't just playing
I
around
wasn't.
'cause
I actually thought you were joking around too. I wasn't referring to that. I was referring to the first time you said melee.
Did I say melee first? All right.
You did.
So my question for each one of you and for the people listening, text line 71307 or message us on Facebook or YouTube. If someone jumps the line on you, do you say something?
Yes.
Okay. So Owen, what do you say?
I mean, I don't think you have to be rude about it. I feel like there's a line you have to cross, but like, look, guy, come on. I was here first.
All right.
Okay?
So
Some
what,
authority?
You're not selling it.
what
You're not
if-
selling it for me?
What if it's a situation where like we went to the beach a month ago and we were going to medieval times. My wife and my daughter, my granddaughter got there before us because I had this thing where I get lost all the time. And so they were already in line. And so we just walked up and got in line with them because we're with them. And there were some looks from people who have been standing there.
No, see, that doesn't bother me. If I see you go to stand with people you were conversing
When
with, like, yo, hey,
When
hey.
it's obvious that you're
Yeah,
with the
right.
group, the group has the place in line.
Yeah, I'll see that. I'll look at that and I'll be like, I'm a little annoyed in the back of my mind, like, oh, I have to wait for a couple more people now. But at the end of the day, they're all a group. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. The group is an entity that takes up a part in the line.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the way you have to look at it, or else you're just going to be, in a melee with all sorts of people.
All right.
Especially for this kind of story where it's like families and stuff. Why?
Yeah.
Why
Because
get into that kind of fight?
some people just want to brawl and they're looking for a reason. And some people, when they spend a lot of time with their family, makes them want to brawl. There are people
I
out
completely
there.
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
honestly.
So on the Facebook page, Angry Zach says, depends on if she's cute.
If she was a woman of character, she wouldn't be line jumping. So she could
Although,
get into the back of the
so
line.
that begs this question. So you're a single guy and you're in line and a girl walks up and says, hey, is it okay if I jump in line in front of you? And you think you have a chance? Are you letting it happen?
Better give me the phone number
Or
first.
are you, well, you can get that while she's standing there. You're going to be standing there for a while. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe.
Or do you say, no, you can go to the back of the line. I've been here for 2 hours.
you got to go to the back of the line. Okay?
I mean, if she's cute and she's got like maybe she's wearing a t-shirt or something, some form of conversation that could be had there, maybe. But generally speaking, I think it's kind of insensitive to all the other people behind you in line
Yeah.
to let someone in front of you just because
Well,
this person's
Well,
cute.
Because the other thing I think of is just like, oh, you think I'm the most you think I'm the weakest link here.
All
You
right.
think I'm the
All right.
weakest
So
link
so
in the
there's a
saga.
lot
That's
there's
it.
a lot of lack of confidence here. It could be that you are like you're the thing in the line. Okay. She's walking up and going, and she sees she has an opportunity, and this is her way of breaking the ice, and you just missed your opportunity. Is it worth taking the chance for that?
So
Well,
I
you
can
see,
get
to
on the
want to
in-
go for the chance, I have to have the time to commit to a relationship.
at that moment in time, man, I'm probably just worried about riding the Intimidator more, so she can go to the back of the line.
All right.
You know what I
Zach says absolutely, but she has to present with a sweet, humble attitude, not an entitled attitude.
If she's skipping the rest of the line, she's already shown a little bit of entitlement. You know what I mean?
You know, I would just crook my
Maybe-
arm out.
See, you guys are so negative, and that's a good way. Maybe she's there with friends, but she's she came with a couples. She's there by herself. She needs someone to ride with. She sees you're there.
What is
You
this
need someone to-
hypothetical?
you
What
need
is this
someone
turning
to ride
into?
with.
You cannot assume this amount of good in the most random of people that is trying to attempt to cut in front of you at an amusement park, Lonzo.
All right,
Exactly.
I think you can believe that it's a possibility,
Maybe in
which
the
is
80s,
what I do,
Maybe in the 80s,
No,
girls
no,
would
no, no.
actually walk up and
No,
do that,
no,
but
no,
that's
no.
not a thing now.
dude. Why is it not a thing now? It should be
No, it's
more so
totally a thing.
now. Yeah, because we're in the 21st century, and they have their own mind. Maybe they
No,
think you're
'cause
hot, and they're just
people-
going to go up and
people
say, "Hey."
used to
Anyone
talk-
will shoot their shot with anybody, gender or whatever, it doesn't matter. I mean, if
See,
somebody's confident and they see somebody that they're interested in, they want to go up and try and introduce themselves, they'll do that.
See, that's what Zach is saying. She's shooting her shot with you. That's what I'm saying. She sees you. She's like, "Oh my God, there he is."
But see, here's the thing: she's not just shooting her shot out of the kindness of her heart because of how much she thinks you're attractive. There is an incentive to speak with you, to get in.
All right,
Here's,
so-
here's the
so
thing.
it-
Here's what I would say in this case. It's like, I know you're playing.
Oh,
me.
you holding your hand up like I won't talk over you. You go ahead. You go ahead.
I'm sorry. It's like, I know you're playing me, but come on.
All right. See, that's the kind of negativity that's a problem. Luckily, I don't have that negativity. Neither do the people on the stream. Chris says maybe it's your future wife. It could be. And you missed the opportunity because you want to be a snot about one other person being ahead of you. A person who, as Owen is saying, I want to get on the Intimidator. What if you get on the Intimidator with her?
Yeah, and what if she gets off after you let her in front of you, and that's all she wanted, and then she never talks to you again?
Well,
and then you
I
just
guess
lost
you-
5
All right,
minutes of your life in a line.
Dad's starting to sway me a little bit. Then it's worth the risk. Who cares?
Okay,
if-
Cameron,
if it's a-
Cameron, come
Huh?
on, man, don't dark
Steven-
side here. Stop it.
Here's the thing.
Steven said she'd
I'm
be a
lonely.
line. She'd be a line hoe.
Owen.
No.
Oh, that's wrong, man. I would be the line hoe in this case,
Oh, you would not.
and I would be perfectly fine
See,
with
I
that.
agree with Zach. Nothing's lost. Nothing's lost. You missed one space in line, and you got a chance to ride.
It is
and
a
here's-
cost benefit analysis.
It-
There you go.
It also depends on the ride you're riding. So if you're riding a certain kind of ride, let's say you're getting ready to go into a ride that goes to a haunted house, you pair with her. You're getting some time right there.
Oh,
She's
and-
scared. She's grabbing onto your arm the whole time. Before you're done, hey, you're getting the digits. I mean, what's wrong with that?
Because I think the other
Because
thing,
you know what? If you don't, and you still got to ride with a hot girl through the whole thing, you got to ride with a hot girl through the whole thing. I don't see the I don't understand you guys.
Owen, how much is your honor worth to you?
Who a lot.
This has
a
nothing
lot.
to do. Hey, Rob
No.
Brown, this has nothing to do with honor. Don't be trying to change the story.
No,
to me, because
I'm
the-
referring to Owen specifically. I've changed my mind because of your well thought out argument. Because it is a cost benefit analysis. What am I losing?
5
Oh,
minutes,
well.
maybe 10 minutes, depending on the line you're in of your entire
Here's
life.
here's the
someone you
problem.
I don't care about 10 minutes
Here's-
of my
here's
life.
here's the problem. Owen just stood outside of Charlotte Stadium for like 2 hours, and he's disgruntled. That's what
hour
it
and
is.
a half. That's he's right.
Okay, there is that.
There's some underlying motive here. Okay.
And
if
I'm
you're-
gonna say
You're
that-
married, right?
No,
You're not?
No.
Okay. Girlfriend?
we'll go with that.
Okay. I feel like I anyway, is she cut in line? If she cut in line, would you?
Which chances are she's cutting in line. She's with me anyway, so yeah, she can cut in line.
Okay.
But if I don't know you, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not just gonna be old, average, nice Joe. Sure, hop on.
All right. So you guys have never been to a place where some girl you don't know just happens to come up, and you just guys end up going the same places, all that kind of stuff.
No, it's
You're having
never
fun.
happened.
It does. It does happen.
I know that it's hard to believe as absolutely gorgeous as and attractive as a human being as I am, but no, not a lot of women have come up to me in that specific kind of situation.
Hey, but it could happen. It absolutely could happen, without a doubt. For every one of yins. I just was asking about line jumping. I don't know why I went to that.
You
It just
did this. You and Zach did this.
Well,
It's true.
you know, as I've said, we go where we go. That's what we do. All right.
Welcome to the Upstate Pulse, where you can hook up with some
We're a bunch of
single
nerds
guys,
talk
yeah.
about meeting girls in lines.
Hey,
Yes,
it still
yes.
happens.
And
It
the cost
absolutely does.
benefit
And,
analysis
and you
stuff.
guys are just so negative. I mean, you
We're
know,
pragmatic.
I'm calculating when things happen. Okay, if I'm mean, what does it do for me? If I'm nice, what does it do
maniacal.
for me? Yeah, it's not maniacal. It's just
no,
good
he's
planning.
yeah,
That's
it is
that's all
good
it is. It's just good planning. Seeing all the scenarios quickly. Dr. Strange it. What can I say? All right. The new D&D trailer is out, and a couple people in the building were really excited about it. They didn't see the flaws that I saw. So if you've seen the D&D trailer, what do you think about it? First of all, Chris Pine is starring, and despite what other people say, and they couldn't disprove me, when I see or hear Chris Pine, I think Captain Kirk. So Captain Kirk is in a D&D movie. And you just did the argument that I had in the Nerd Cave with, I'm just going to say Rob and Chris. We're going to go with those names.
I was there too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you were. See, you killed the hypothetical by making it real,
Matthew's
Matthew.
just in the corner.
So we had this conversation, and they're like, "Well, you've always done this." I'm like, first of all, you haven't known me that long, and you have. Name me another time when I've done this. Well, I was like, okay, tell me another movie Chris Pine's been in. And they immediately had to go online. It's like, if you have to go online to look, you can't come up with another movie that he's been in. So if someone is known for a movie, and that's the only movie you can think of them for, don't you see them in that role, especially if they didn't change their looks at all, and it just looks like Captain Kirk out of uniform, maybe on the holodeck with D&D.
So that's your problem with it?
I don't have a problem with it.
Okay. So
I just said it. All right. So I do have some problems with the trailer. I don't have a problem with him being that guy. I'm just saying I'm going to hear that the entire time because of the role he played in several different movies. He did it really well, by the way. I thought he was, if anyone could replace Shatner, I thought Chris Pine did a really good job. I really did. Zachary Quinto, whatever his name is, did a good job as Spock also. But so Chris Pine, I think he's another one of those guys who kind of plays the same guy in every movie.
He's typecast a lot. Yeah.
He is. It's just so you could just change his clothes, put him in another movie, and he's still playing the same role.
Which works, which in my opinion, works for this movie because he's a bard.
He is a bard. You're
because
right.
that's what he is in every single movie.
But,
He is
you
the
know, I don't
quintessential
know.
Bard.
Give me another accent or something. Okay. Give me some, a different kind of inflection. Don't just sound, he still has the same Shatner-esque hesitations when he's speaking, which makes it sound like it's Captain Kirk in D&D. All right. That's not my major problem with it. My major problem with it is the dragons. The dragons look fake. And for a D&D movie, the dragons need to look better. The black dragon looks pretty good.
I know which one you're talking about. That one with the quick,
yeah.
The quick one. Yeah, that one doesn't look real. I like Chunky Dragon though. Chunky Dragon's great.
Yeah, the fat dragon, the fat dragon is getting a lot of love online. I don't know how well the fat dragon moves, but it is a fire dragon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see what color was it.
It's probably red. It wouldn't be bronze or something because metallic dragons are nice. It's either that or they really ticked off a metallic dragon.
And in the trailer, we do get to see a mimic for the first time. I don't recall ever seeing a mimic in a movie.
No, and it was pretty scary. I'd say
all right.
Yeah, it looks good.
It looked like a mimic.
It did.
It did.
It did. So
now the rest of Will there be door mimics? Will there be cup mimics?
There have been other Dungeons and Dragons movies. It also has Michelle Rodriguez. We had an argument about that too. It's like, name me other movies Michelle Rodriguez has been in besides the Fast series, which she's been in, I think, every single one of them, like 9 or 10 of them. So of course it's going to look like, she's in another family, but it's still her. And so they started looking stuff. If you have to look it up, then you're proving my point.
I feel like this argument just really bothered you, and you just.
It did. And you're right. Captain Kirk and Steve Trevor but when he was Steve Trevor in Wonder Woman, he was just Captain Kirk in Wonder Woman.
It's the D&D player who just doesn't change his voice or change their voice at all, and they play the same character. And you know what?
So
if it's done well, then it's fun.
Am I wrong about that? If you can only think of one character that an actor played in a movie, then do you guys see or hear that guy no matter what role he's playing? Owen?
Yes.
Not usually, but I am kind of a film snob kind of guy, so I watch a lot of stuff like that, and I really get into films, so I'm normally good at looking past that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I usually try to do the same. It's just I can see it, and then I get into the actual movie. Like in the trailers, it's just like, oh look, it's Captain Kirk and that one girl from the Fast and Furious movies.
By the way, Tone says Rodriguez was in the first Resident Evil. While they were looking it up, I told them other movies she was in because I knew she was in other movies, but they didn't, which killed their entire argument. All right, San Diego. See, here's the problem: we have such close ties with South Carolina Comicon that me saying San Diego Comic-Con feels wrong, even though that is the biggest con in the world and it's going on right now. Can't wait for South Carolina Comic-Con though. But San Diego Comic-Con is going on. A couple of things that have dropped, including something that Keith just mentioned on the Facebook page, Marvel Zombies, and it has an R rating. It's animated, but it's coming out. I'm really looking forward to this. I am.
How brutal is this going to be?
Well, it's in the same universe that we've already seen in What If.
Yeah, which that was already kind of bad at just PG-13. Just so who's gonna get ripped apart and how bad is it gonna be?
Well, and
it's not ever fun with like.
My question isn't necessarily about the specific show, but how much does this open up the opportunity for them to do more R-rated stuff?
This might be their testing ground for like Deadpool. And stuff.
Speaking of which,
Awesome.
as of today, Deadpool 1, 2, and Logan are all available on Disney Plus. So
Yep.
they did that as of today, so you can watch all those movies. Big deal. Keith is saying a lot of gore. Yes, going to be a lot of gore in Marvel Zombies because it's Marvel Zombies. It's a zombie. It's a zombie show. They've already announced also What If Season 2. Looking forward to that. And that was just the animated portion of Marvel. The live action stuff, I believe that panel happens tomorrow.
Well, that's not all the animated stuff. There's also X-Men 97.
Yes, X-Men 97. And in X-Men 97, Charles Xavier is off-world. So guess who's leading the X-Men? Magneto is leading the X-Men. This is hard though, because the first X-Men cartoon was so good. The music was so great and you're so into it. And then it was over. Now it's back. 97. How many years ago was that? So
a lot.
If you go back and
25.
when you go back and rewatch it, can you still feel the same magic that you felt when you watched it the first time? I don't know.
Look, I think Disney knows how to tickle the nostalgia funny bone. I think that's the right way to put it.
Yeah, it was a valiant attempt. It was nostalgia.
It can't all be gold.
Yeah,
sometimes it's silver.
I know. Sometimes it's got to be the silver that makes you appreciate the gold more, and I like that. I do. Also,
don't point at me condescendingly.
No, it was not. That was love, man. That's what that was. Nothing but love in this room right now. All right. Steven says, I was traumatized by how gruesome the Nerf wall was last week. I feel as if T2 has PTSD and that's why he's out today. He struggled all last week. I want to tell you. Yeah, he struggled a lot last week. Zach says, yeah, I've watched it within the last year, still holds up, talking about X-Men 97. So I'm going to go back and watch that because you can watch that now on Disney. All right. The latest Lord of the Rings trailer has dropped. I had my questions about this until like the very first scene of the trailer, where there is a mound of helmets, and it looks messed up. It does.
It looks like it's going to be pretty rough because the Second Age wasn't a fun age for Middle Earth.
Yeah, this is the rise of Sauron and
The fall of Numenor, I believe, and the elves are going to get their butts kicked a good bit.
And also the forging of the rings of power. So we're going to see, the men fall. We're going to see all the guys who receive the rings slowly be corrupted.
Yeah.
And
The other thing is just like, what do you think about how Sauron looks?
I don't think we've actually seen Sauron. We've seen
You
bits
don't
and
think
pieces.
that was him?
No, I don't think that's him. Zach says LOTR show is trash. Butcher Tolkien's story changed way too much. Okay, so Zach is screaming right now as he's typing it out because
you would say that he's angry.
he's angry. That's what he does. There's this. Okay, so I'm looking forward to it. I know some of the people online are not. Cameron, are you looking forward to this show?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
All right, Matthew.
I'm not actually a huge Lord of the Rings guy. I've
What?
always wanted
Oh
to
my
get into it, but
gosh.
it's just so much that I've never gotten into it, and I need to.
That's like nerd bread and butter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
that
into
is
all of the other deep stuff, but not the like surface level stuff like Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones for some reason.
No.
Gotcha. So you're like a deep ocean creature. You don't-
Yeah, I'm a deep ocean creature. I've never seen the light. I'm stuck in the degenerate darkness.
Okay. You can still comment, but we need to take a break. So what were you going to say, Owen?
nerd crap.
I mean, this is a much needed prequel, I think, just to see about these rings of power. But no, it's gonna be good, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And if it's bad, it's bad, but I'm still going to watch it. You're listening to Upstate Pulse right here on 106.3 WORD. All right, so trying to remember what fishing is. I was like, the light that
An anglerfish.
Anglerfish. You were just about said danglerfish.
Yeah, I said anglerfish at first. I'm like, no, angler.
Also, how'd you appreciate the harpoon company's name?
What harpoon company?
All right, you just completely forgot.
I
you're-
forgot.
Yeah, never mind. It's all good. Can't say it.
Oh,
Yeah, never mind. I shouldn't bring up things I was trying to not say on the air anyway.
yeah.
Kind of goes against it.
Look up Nerd of the Rings on YouTube. I will take a look at that.
Sounds familiar, actually.
I know a lot about Lord of the Rings to a degree, and I've played Shadow of Mordor.
Yeah.
Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, super fun games.
Oh yeah.
So I have that bit of exposure to Lord of the Rings. Like I know the basic stuff about Lord of the Rings and all the characters and the story. I've just never actually like really read the books or seen the movies.
It's fine. You can't consume. Here's the thing: is
Yeah.
you can't consume all of.
No,
pop
you
culture.
can't.
There's
You
way
can't
too
consume
much.
all me,
Make
and
that the
I
last element
get
before-
invested. I've gotten invested in
before
so
we hit
many
lightning
different
round.
pieces of media that
So come back with lightning round after.
No. After it, yeah.
Hardee's Central Store. No, I don't think. I
yeah, it's
have.
like right down there. By the
way,
theater.
if you guys, if
Not by there, but I've eaten like at Sushi Burrito.
Zach,
Yeah,
I don't know
I
if
didn't
you've
even
read
know
the
what the sushi
Silmarillion,
thing- I
which
don't
is
do
hard to
sushi
read
though,
because it was
so.
very disjointed. I don't know. There's been other iterations of it
Further
lately
down
where they may have
this way,
put
there's
together a little bit more. I know his son had
hibachi
something to do with it.
buffet
But if you read the
meal
Silmarillion,
that, they have
I think it's
standard, like,
based on
buffet
a
type
bunch of
but
stuff
they
that
also
happened
have
in
an
that.
actual grill that you can custom do orders for, so you can just do a fresh stuff.
Yeah.
As a buffet, like that's pretty good. I've if you do their lunch special, it's pretty all right. But that's the only time I would ever do that.
Yeah, I've read the books multiple times, Chris, as far as Lord of the Rings. I've read those books several times. I did have a thing where like every year or two I would read them again. I read the Silmarillion. That's what I was saying before in like right after high school. And it was a little difficult to read, but it talks about a lot of the stuff that's going to be in this series as far as the rise of Sauron, who he really was. And he was, I forget the name of the bad guy before him, but he was
Morgoth.
Morgoth. Yeah, Sauron was his apprentice.
Is it Morgoth or Melchior?
I don't know. I can't remember that. I think it did start with an M. So a lot of this stuff has been talked about. I want to watch it for the effects and all that kind of stuff. And I think just the dwarves alone. I like The Hobbit. I loved what the dwarfs did. I appreciate that, Keith. Might publish that when I'm like 65.
So Morgoth was. Let's see. Oh, Melkor is Morgoth. Yeah.
So they're the same
Sauron.
dude.
Yeah. He also is known as the guy with a lot of names. I'm sure that's not quite the.
It was a Sith-like situation.
Yes, as it tends to be when you have an evil master.
Who knows? Maybe the idea of Sith came from that,
Maybe.
because that was before then. Don't want to make anyone angry about that, but it could be a possibility, you know?
Hey,
Because everything fantasy is derived from Tolkien.
hey, Dad, we're much more accepting nerds
Well,
in here.
Tolkien set the standard for a lot of fantasy things, but Tolkien's fantasy is also derivative of other fantasy stuff from before him. Everything is derivative, but
Yep, humans, we all just, play off of each other.
the old quote, there is no such thing as originality. It's just repurposing.
All of the world's wonderful creatures. What would you say if we told you there's an enemy, maybe even in your own backyard, that needs your help? For less than 10 cents a day, you can help to relocate these animals. Well, these friends, to a better habitat. No longer will they be forced to forage or to seek shelter for their families and themselves. You can help them have a home for the rest of their adorable lives. We urge you to join the Upstate Pulse in this endeavor. And we thank you. Send your check or money order to the Upstate Pulse Possum Relocation Foundation. Operators are standing by.
Hey, don't look at me that way, guys. You got to let it breathe sometimes. That's what you got to do. You got to let Sarah breathe. You got to let her put her message out there. By the way, operators still are standing by if you are interested in sending money for the possum, not Possum Kingdom, but the Possum Sanctuary in Lawrence County. If you've been there, you know it's all around. It's everywhere. It's the county itself basically is a sanctuary for possum. All right. So W has spoken. That means that we're going to try to squeeze in as many things as we possibly can in the next couple of minutes, including we have the new trailer for John Wick, and it looks awesome. How many more ways can they kill people off? I don't know. The last one, Cameron and I were in the theater watching everybody applaud and all the different ways John Wick killed people off. And I couldn't help but think, we're applauding all the ways that he's killing these people off.
What have we become?
Yes,
But
yes.
it was still pretty cool.
It was. And
Just a moment of like moral reflection to, oh man, he just broke his jaw with a book.
well,
Tad repetitive at this point. No, do we not feel the same way?
no,
No.
Okay.
because
No.
now it's just a matter of method. I mean, if you're looking for story, he's just trying to live and everyone's trying to kill him. So I think you could look at this as like one big continuation of they killed my dog. I mean, that's basically what it is. They killed my dog, and Halle Berry was awesome in the last one too. So
Don't want to mess with her dogs.
no, you don't. It's so really, in essence, it's all about the love of dogs. So it's good for that. It has a strong message. In the last one, you saw all that glass and knew, how are they going to break all that glass? And that's really what it comes down to. It's like playing a video game with breakable environments and you're looking at it going, okay, how do like Mortal Kombat or something where the environments can break, and you're like, okay, how can I knock this guy through this wall so I see how it shatters? It's the same thing, except in movie form.
Starting to understand.
Yeah, Zach says they were bad people. Yes, they were. Now they did. But yeah, this one looks like it's going to have a lot more sword fights in it.
No.
Which I like. You may say that's unrealistic. Yeah, it's a movie. It's supposed to be. I mean,
I'm sorry if you go to John Wick for realism.
I want to check somewhere else, but
yeah, there's some people out there who yeah. All right, the new Prey trailer is out, and Prey is Predator against Native Americans.
I think it's actually specifically the Comanche tribe.
Is it? Yeah,
I looked it up.
So I watched the trailer. It's pretty good. Talking about the same movie, Predator comes to Earth, and Predator, tries to get trophies. And in this case, he's fighting guys and girls with hatchets and bows and arrows. And it looks, the trailer shows this girl trying to kill a bear. She shoots it in the eye, and the bear's still coming at her. Then suddenly the bear gets hacked up and pulled out of the hole. And, if you like Predator, you're probably going to like this movie. It looks pretty good. All right. Let me find the story real quick as he looks and sees. I got plenty of time. I don't know what I'm worried about. All right. So you ever wanted to own an Infinity Stone?
oh yeah,
How much would you think an Infinity Stone would cost?
like if it actually
Yes.
half of something.
All right.
like
Marvel.
a lot more than I could buy.
Yes, or any of us combined, and everyone listening combined. Marvel reveals real life Infinity Stones collection worth $25 million. So, let's see. The $25 million valuation makes this collection one of the most valuable bits of comic book paraphernalia in the world, and the stones obviously hold their own value as precious gems. Anyway, they will be housed in a specially designed Infinity Gauntlet designed by collectibles company Gentle Giant. As for the real-life classifications, the Time Stone is a Colombian emerald. The Space Stone is a sapphire from Madagascar. The Reality Stone is an oval-shaped natural ruby from Mozambique. The Power Stone is an oval-shaped natural amethyst. The Soul Stone is a cushion-shaped spessartite. I'm gonna go with that. And the Mind Stone is a brilliant cut yellow diamond. All right, I'm gonna hand this off to Cameron with this word, see what he thinks it is, and then you can hand it to the professional in the room and see if Matthew can pronounce it.
Spessartite.
See, that's what I thought too.
Where's the word?
Right here.
It's right there.
Right there.
Yeah, Spessartite.
Okay, so I said it right in the first place. Anyway,
We, the Council of Words and Words Usage, deem your word usage to be correct.
Council of Vernacular has spoken.
Yes, the Council of Vernacular.
it's rare that I would actually be correct in front of the Council of Vernacular. All right, the Air
You have been
Force.
wrong many times.
All right, we'll not talk about that. The Air Force builds a supercomputer out of PlayStation 3 consoles. It's one of the most powerful military supercomputers in the world, and it's made out of PlayStations. The U.S. Air Force Research Laboratory, also known as AFRL, has built a computer with a core. Don't spit take, man. I'll get in trouble for that. Built a computer with a core made up of 1,760 PlayStation 3 consoles. The Condor cluster, as it's called, is capable of performing 500 trillion operations per second. Let me say that again. 500 trillion operations per second. The computer is used to quickly analyze ultra high resolution images, useful for radar enhancement, pattern recognition, satellite imagery processing, and artificial intelligence research.
As a computer guy, I find this story super interesting because it just shows how for those of you that know anything about computers with processors, you got different cores in them, and the power of individual cores isn't always quite as important as how many cores are in that computer. So even these old systems can run something like that,
Yeah,
but
and
just more of them.
And the thing is, PS3s, they probably got them pretty cheap.
Oh, you would think so.
Yeah, because we're on to PS5 now. So, I mean, threes you can probably get anywhere. So that was really cool. Quick question online. Does that include the Infinity Gauntlet? Yes, it was including the Gauntlet, which is going to be specially made. So you would have the Gauntlet. You would have all those gems. And if you had $25 million, you could get it. All right. Thanks to everybody for tuning in for the show. Thanks for all the interaction on text line, on the Facebook and all that kind of stuff. And we'll be back next week. And hey, you have a great weekend. You know who I'm talking to. See ya.
Did you turn me off? Okay. I just
Yeah,
I pull it
yeah,
down
that
and
would
I
suck.
see that I'm off and I'm like, I swear I remember turning it on.
What sorcery
It
is this?
scared me.
All right. I want to thank everybody online. Owen, say goodbye.
See you guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Matthew, say goodbye.
Bye.
Cameron, say goodbye.
So long. I forget what the next line.
You go do the rest.
Farewell. Avitas and goodbye.
It's been a long week.
I don't even know what's going on anymore.
I
do
don't know either.
I do know that we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
Bye, all. Have a good one.
Bye.
Sorry, Steven.
See
We